This video is brought to you by HockeyMonkey.com, your one-stop shop for the best prices on all the latest and greatest hockey gear. Be sure to use coupon code HR4U7 at checkout to receive 7% off any order. Hey guys, Josh from HockeyReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review of the Warrior Covert DT1 ST. This is the variation to their LT model that is supposedly designed for stronger players. Kind of an interesting concept and marketing ploy by Warrior, but is there actually a difference between the LT and the ST model? We're going to find that out in today's review. Keep in mind that I've been using this stick for about a month's time now, and I have to say that I've really been enjoying it so far. So with all that being said, let's get right into the review. First off, let's talk about the balance and weight of the DT1 ST. This is one of the most significant and really what changes the overall feel of the ST model in comparison to the LT model. The major difference here is the fuse point. The LT is a true one-piece stick, whereas the ST features Warrior's high fuse technology, where basically it's not a true one-piece. The stick is fused basically where your lower hand is. So you're going to have more of an isolated area at the bottom of the shaft. It's still a low kick point, but it requires a little bit more strength and slightly better technique to be as effective, I should say, in comparison to the LT. Whereas the benefit would be is that if you are strong enough and if you are skilled enough, I should say, to use this particular type of fuse point, you're going to get a slightly harder kick from the stick itself, which I would say is more or less true, but don't buy into this thinking that you really need to be a super skilled player to use this particular stick. Anybody's going to be able to pick up the ST model and use it effectively. It's just a matter of whether or not you want something that's going to be a little bit more solid feeling like the ST or a little bit softer feeling like the LT. In terms of weight though, I would say that the weight of the stick is very, very similar to that of the LT. It does weigh in at the same 470 grams, but to me the balance is a little bit better on the ST model in comparison to the LT. It's definitely a little bit better balanced overall, not quite as blade heavy, but still a little bit more blade heavy in comparison to other high-end sticks. And again, 470 grams is slightly above average in comparison to the 420 to 440 that you might be used to from a top-end hockey stick. But for the most part, if you're looking for something that's still lightweight in hand and still has a very solid feel about it as well, you're going to enjoy the Warrior DT1 ST. In terms of the shaft itself, you're going to find that the DT1 ST features rounded corners and double concave sidewalls. In terms of the dimensions of the shaft, it's going to be a little bit more average and definitely a little bit thicker in comparison to that of the DT1 LT. So this definitely has a slightly more solid feel in hand, whereas the LT I would describe as a little bit more dainty because it does have those straight sidewalls and of course is a little bit thinner in your hands. Of course, moving into the taper, you're going to find that same Dagger T2 taper system, which is obviously exclusive to Warrior. It does have a very narrow profile looking down towards the blade and a slightly wider face on the face of the stick itself, especially as you go closer towards the blade itself. This is going to be slightly noticeable when taking face-offs if you do drop your hand very, very low, but nonetheless you're still going to be able to get a very solid grip on the stick. In terms of the grip pattern itself, this is the grip variation, which is what I use for testing, and it features the Diamond X grip texturing from Warrior. Basically, it's just a standard grip coating, not too sticky, and you're also going to have this added diamond texture over top of the stick, and it's actually a texture. It's not a painted on type of thing, so it's not going to chip off or anything like that. It does provide a really nice grip on the stick, but at the same time, it's not overly sticky, so you're never going to feel like your hands are stuck. But of course, if you don't like having that little bit of extra grip, a clear variation is also available. In terms of puck feel, the DT1 ST model features the exact same blade construction as the LT model. So you're going to get the Hardcore X foam core design for the blade itself. It's a reinforced foam core that is designed to strengthen the blade as well as reduce on any kind of compression across the entire blade face on both the forehand and backhand. So what that means is you're going to get a very consistent feel across the entire blade, which is something that I'm personally a really big fan of. It is, of course, wrapped in carbon fiber, and then of course you're going to have your carbonized layer on top, which is what gives this blade somewhat of a unique feel. You can see a unique look, sorry. You can see that it has a bit of a darker outline, and that lighter material on the inside that reflects a little bit differently against the light is the carbonized layer. It's an extra hard layer of carbon fiber that's placed over top of the initial carbon fiber on the blade that is designed again to strengthen the blade overall, enhance the durability, and make for a slightly better, more responsive feel when shooting the puck. Doesn't really have much to do in terms of overall puck feel. And then of course you have the aramid sole for the blade itself, which again has very little to do with puck feel. Again, it's just a hard material that kind of borders the bottom of the blade that's supposed to be much more resistant against hard impacts that are very common when taking slap shots and one-timers, supposedly making this blade 4 times stronger against hard impacts in comparison to other standard carbon fiber blades. Now, in terms of puck feel, like I mentioned, it's very, very consistent. And what's great about the DT1, both the LT and ST models, is that it has a very natural feel, slightly softer when stick handling and receiving passes, and very consistent across the entire blade face. With that being said, it doesn't lack the stiffness and pop feel that you would normally expect from a stick when shooting the puck. But again, if you want something that isn't overly rigid, something that's a little bit more forgiving, then you're really going to enjoy the puck feel that you get from the Warrior DT1 ST. When it comes to shooting the puck, there definitely is a difference in feel coming from the LT to the ST model, and this has everything to do with the fuse point. When you're shooting the puck with the Warrior DT1 LT, there's definitely a very consistent flex profile across the entire stick. No matter how hard or how soft you shoot the puck, you're going to feel the entire shaft mainly down towards the taper area. It's a low kick point stick at the end of the day, but you're going to feel that the entire stick does have a lot of flex to it, and it loads up extremely well. With the ST model, I found they have to really lean into your shot to get that kind of kick from your stick, but the kick that you do get from the ST model definitely does feel a little bit harder than what you're going to get from the LT, especially if you really lean into your shot. So for that reason, I would say that the ST model is going to be a little bit better suited for a wide variety of shots, whether it be snap shots, wrist shots, slap shots, one-timers, whereas the LT model is more of a true kind of low kick point type of stick that's best suited for snap shots and wrist shots, and not so great for harder shots like slap shots. Because of this fuse point, I found that when you really do lean into a shot, you're going to feel that from your bottom hand and down is where the stick is going to flex predominantly. You're still going to get some flex higher up the shaft, but the majority of the flex is going to be happening below your bottom hand. With that being said, it still has the exact same Dagger T2 taper as the LT model, which does have that wider face, so it adds that little bit of additional torsional support to the shaft itself. You're never going to feel like it's opening up on you when you're taking a shot, along with the added rigidity of the blade. And then of course you have your twin spar technology, which is essentially 2 support beams that run through the taper and directly into the blade, allowing the shaft and the blade to work together as one when shooting the puck, to allow for, again, that additional accurate feel because nothing's opening up on you when you take a really hard shot. And of course, the 2 areas of the stick, the blade and the shaft, are working together as one to get maximum energy transfer. So overall, I really enjoyed using this stick. Again, Warrior markets it as a stick that is better suited for stronger players that have slightly better technique. Again, you can use either the LT or the ST no matter how good of a shooter you think you are, but for the most part, I would say that it would be relatively true to say that the ST model is going to be a little bit better for somebody with a slightly better technique and a slightly stronger build. When it comes to durability, nothing jumps out at me as a major concern with the DT1 ST. Really the only damage that has been made to the stick has just been some minor skate scrapes and little chips in the blade that are bound to happen with any composite stick. Nothing major at all, and for the most part the overall feel of the stick in terms of its pop is just like it was from day one. So again, durability wise, this is not something that really should be a concern with the Warrior DT1 ST, at least from what I can tell you so far. If something does go wrong down the line, I will of course let you guys know, but for the most part, if you're looking for a really well made stick, and like I mentioned, this stick really does have a nice solid feel, a little bit more weight to it, extra material should lead to better durability. The DT1 ST is definitely one of those sticks that you can buy and count on to last a relatively long time. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the Warrior Covert DT1 ST. In terms of comparing it to the LT model, my preference would definitely be the ST, simply because I prefer the flex profile on this particular stick in comparison to the LT. I find it to be a little bit more well-rounded for a wide variety of shots, and when you do really lean into a shot, I found that the ST model does kick a little bit harder, which is kind of what Warrior advertises, and I really can kind of vouch for them in terms of them saying the truth in terms of how this stick actually does feel. I also prefer the ST model for the simple fact that it seems to be balanced a little bit better than the LT. Not quite as blade heavy, but still has a nice solid feel to it at that 470 grams weight. Of course, this is not something to buy if you really like an ultra lightweight stick, but for the most part, if you're going to buy a DT1, this one definitely feels a little bit lighter, at least in my opinion. Other than that though, guys, if you have any questions regarding the DT1 ST, feel free to leave a comment down below, and if you have any suggestions for products you'd like to see, again, leave me a comment down below and I definitely will do my best to bring it in for review. If you're interested in purchasing a DT1 ST for yourself, be sure to check out the link in the description. It's a buy it now link along with an exclusive Hockey Reviews for You discount code, so you can pick up the DT1 ST at a discounted price. Again, that link is down below in the description. Subscribe if you haven't already for more videos, reviews on all the latest and greatest hockey gear. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.